Discover the incredible life-changing moment when a poor girl revealed sign language to a hidden gem of a war hero. Mia Thompson wasn't just any 12-year-old girl. She was the spark in a town trying to ignite hope from the ashes of its crumbling factories. Living with her mother, who worked tirelessly to make ends meet after years of teaching, Mia felt the weight of their struggles every day. But she also carried a unique gift, the ability to communicate through sign language, a skill her mother lovingly passed down. In a place where most barely acknowledged those who were different, Mia was determined to shine bright. One day, while wandering the quiet streets of her decaying neighborhood, she stumbled across Mr. Thompson, no relation, but almost a local legend. An elderly war veteran who had retreated into isolation after losing his hearing during combat. Many whispered rumors about him, some evil, some kind, but few had ever taken the time to knock on his door. Mia felt an inexplicable pull. She bravely knocked, heart thumping like a drum, and when he opened the door, she saw loneliness etched deep into his face. With trembling hands, Mia signed hello. Mr. Thompson's expression transformed in an instant. His eyes lit up, and a smile cascaded across his weathered face, like sun breaking through stormy clouds. They began to converse, her fingers dancing in the air, opening a world both captivating and profound. Through their growing friendship, Mr. Thompson unraveled tales of courage, sacrifice, and an unsung life. But whispers from peers echoed in her mind. Why do you hang out with him? He's just a crazy old deaf guy. Mia grappled with their harsh judgment, feeling the sting of their words deep in her heart. Fear of rejection clawed at her, and she often questioned whether her sign language was more a hindrance than a help. Yet Mia saw something that others wouldn't, the beauty of communication in the silence between them. Determined to change minds, Mia hatched a plan to organize a community event to raise awareness about the deaf community. She envisioned families laughing, friendships forming, and bridges being built. But when the day came, hardly anyone showed up. Heartbroken, she stood alone, a canvas of disappointment. The silence felt loud, drowning out her dreams. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now, let's continue. That night, tears streaked down her cheeks, pooling on her pillow as she spoke with her mother about everything. Mia, we face hardships. But remember, it's not the people who doubt us that define our worth. It's our determination to rise, just like the sun. Those words wrapped around Mia's heart, rekindling the fire within. And Mr. Thompson's encouragement whispered in her ears, reminding her that the greatest battles require the bravest souls. As she rallied the courage to stand up for him, the town didn't know it yet, but they were on the brink of a reckoning. Just as Mia began to feel a glimmer of hope, the world around them turned dark once again. A neighbor, frustrated by the old man's very existence, unleashed a torrent of verbal abuse within the community's view. Her heart racing, Mia stepped into the line of fire, confronting the prejudice that had plagued them both. Would her voice break the silence of hatred, or would she be swallowed by the fears that threatened to keep her quiet? The crowd began to hold its breath, the air thick with tension, as Mia stood ready to defend the bond she had fought so hard to build. Mia's pulse raced as harsh words rained down like stones. She felt Mr. Thompson's presence behind her, solid and supportive. Would he want her to speak up? Would he fear the spotlight? She took a deep breath, emboldened by the trust that had blossomed between them. Stop, just stop! Her voice rang out against the murmurs of disbelief. The crowd turned, eyes wide with surprise. She could see the confusion flickering in their faces, a mix of uncertainty and intrigue. They were used to seeing her as just a girl, But today, she was more than that. Today, she was a bridge. "Mia, don't!" a voice called from the back. It was her classmate, Jake, the same one who had laughed at her friendship with Mr. Thompson. "Why shouldn't I?" she shot back, her hands bursting into forceful signs as she interpreted each word with passion. "Why shouldn't we talk to him? He fought for our freedom. You all hide behind whispers and gossip, but have you ever talked to him?" The silence now was deafening. Mia noticed Mr. Thompson's eyes, glistening with unshed tears, brimming with something that looked like awe. With every heartbeat, she felt bolder, driven by the fear of disappointing him. She raised her hands, pushing back against the tide of disdain like a warrior defending their home. "Mr. Thompson is not just a crazy old death guy. He's a hero who sacrificed so much for us," Mia shouted, her heart hammering hard in her chest. Another heart echoed her plea as Mrs. Green, an elderly woman who lived 2 houses down, stepped forward. "She's right. I know him. He was there, always helping at the church, organizing food drives. We just stopped seeing him." A ripple of murmurs danced through the crowd as eyes shifted from Mia to Mr. Thompson, a forgotten hero stepping out of the shadows. For the first time, someone was acknowledging the man behind the whispers. In that moment, a small boy took a tentative step forward, clutching the hem of his mother's dress. But he can't hear," he stammered. "That doesn't make him less of a person," Mia responded, her voice unwavering. "He listened to us. We can learn how to listen in a different way." The tension shifted as the crowd started to reconsider. A newfound expression washed over their faces. It was as if they were waking up to an awareness that had been slumbering for too long. "Mia, maybe," Jake started again, but she cut him off. "If we can come together and learn to communicate as a community, just imagine the bonds we can build." Hands began clapping, slowly at first, then rising in fervorous praise like an unexpected summer storm. Mia felt the energy surge around her and turned to see Mr. Thompson standing proud, a tear running down his cheek. That tiny flicker ignited in Mia's heart, transforming into a roaring flame of hope. Would they remember this moment? Would this be the turning point where compassion triumphed over ignorance? But just as excitement enveloped the crowd, a harsh voice pierced through. "I'll never accept someone like him in our neighborhood." Mia's heart sank. Would the hatred return with a fervor? She turned to Mr. Thompson, searching for guidance in his wise eyes. He nodded slightly, the urgency in his expression inspiring her. She had started something powerful, and now she couldn't allow it to break. As she gathered her thoughts, the moment felt fragile, as if it could shatter under the weight of further prejudice. How would she stand against the tide of hate? Would she have enough strength to carry on this fight for her friend? Mia took a deep breath, ready to respond, knowing she might have to face something bigger than her fears. The moment of truth is here, she thought, feeling the weight of her choices pressing down. But would she rise to meet it? Why not? Mia's voice had a power she didn't expect. What's wrong with Mr. Thompson being different? He fought for our rights and our freedom. We should be proud of him, not scared. The murmurs turned sharper, like knives cutting through the air. Jake glared at her, disbelief twisting his face. "You think he's a hero? What has he ever done for us, huh? He's just some old man sitting quietly in his house." Mia felt the heat rising, but she fought it down. "You don't know him. None of you do. Open your eyes. He's more than just a retired soldier. He's a part of our community." A ripple of voices sparked, and her classmates looked among themselves, confusion giving way to curiosity. Slowly, a girl from the back spoke up. "I always thought he was just strange." "Strange?" Mia echoed. Her hands flew in sign language, emphasizing each word. "What is strange?" Someone who communicates differently? What if you couldn't? Hear laughter? Or the sound of your favorite song? Isn't that a loss? As she spoke, Mr. Thompson took a step forward, leaning slightly on his cane. Mia's heart raced. There he was, the embodiment of all she was fighting for. And suddenly, it felt as if the entire crowd held its breath, waiting for him to say something. "Mia," he signed slowly. "Thank you." His hands faltered slightly, the motion a blend of gratitude and love. Tears brimmed in his eyes again as he raised them to the crowd. But then, the hostile voice boomed again. "You're just a girl. What do you know about the real world? People like him don't belong here." The words struck Mia like a slap. She clenched her fists, feeling the anger boil inside. The weight of everyone's gaze, their uncertainty, was suffocating. If we push away those who are different, we lose something valuable, our humanity. Don't we want a neighborhood that stands together? Her words struck deeper now, and she could see their expressions shift slightly. The initial hesitance in the crowd began to shimmer with possibility. Maybe this was the chance to change hearts, a moment to ignite understanding. "Can we afford to let fear dictate who belongs to our community?" she called out, her voice rising above the discontent. "Have we really become so blind? Mr. Thompson didn't run away when courage called. Neither should we." With each sentence, hope sparked like wildfire. Some in the crowd shifted their weight, murmuring now, not against, but questioning. Mia could feel a change, a crack in the barrier that held fear intact. Then Mrs. Green stepped forward again, her voice quaking but strong. "He taught my children how to be better people. Respect is taught, and he taught it well." A murmured agreement swept through more of the spectators. Mia felt the tension in the air ease, like a storm beginning to quiet down. Maybe this was how compassion crept into the spaces where fear had taken root. Change began small, with love, respect, and understanding. "Together we can learn to be a better community," Mia shouted, filled with a fervor that surged through her veins. "Let's stand with Mr. Thompson. Each one of us can be a bridge." The crowd's clapping grew, mixed with the uncertain calls of those who still held on to their fear. But those voices were drowned out by an overwhelming wave of support. Mia's spirits soared. Might they really be moving toward acceptance? As the clamor reached a crescendo, Jake stepped back, his eyes wide, the fight gone out of him. For the first time, he looked vulnerable, questioning his own bias. But just as hope glimmered like a new dawn on the horizon, Mia felt an unsettling shiver run down her spine. Someone in the back shouted, "This won't end here. There are people who will make our lives miserable if that man stays." Mia's heart dropped. New fear gripped her, but it dropped away. As she looked at Mr. Thompson, staring straight into the faces of their neighbors, not as a soldier forgotten, but a man ready to step out into the world again. "What will we do?" she thought, the question looming larger than life itself. Would they choose a path of unity or division? Would they rise or fall together? Mr. Thompson straightened, his cane steadying him as he absorbed the energy of the crowd. Mia held her breath, wondering if they could push past the fear and see the man standing before them, no longer just an image of difference, but a testament to resilience. "People like him make us better," she murmured, more to herself than anyone, as the crowd swelled in their mixed emotions. Some faces softened, while others still wore frowns, stubborn and unyielding. "Why should we care?" Jake spat back, venom lacing his voice. "He's a reminder of what's wrong with our neighborhood. We don't need his kind messing things up." Mia's heart sank. When had Jake become so consumed by his own biases? You think he's a burden? She challenged, her voice unwavering. Have you ever taken a moment to listen, to understand the stories he could share? Around her, heads turned. There was a flicker of interest that ignited even the unyielding, and faint whispers began to twine through the crowd like threads weaving together for support. Stories? A boy's voice called. What stories? Yes, Mia exclaimed, the word bursting from her like a spark. Mr. Thompson is filled with them. He fought for our freedom, not just on a battlefield, but right here in our streets. He taught self-defense classes and rode along with the police to help keep our community safe. A ripple passed through the group. Mr. Thompson smiled gently at her, appreciation in his eyes, and then he gestured, signing, "It's not about where we come from, but where we are going together." Mia repeated his signs aloud, wanting them to hear the powerful message. It's not about where we come from, but where we are going together. She watched as some in the crowd nodded, the meaning of the word settling in. But what if things change? Another voice piped up, laden with worry. We usually don't talk to strangers. Exactly. But what's wrong with reaching out, right? Mia replied, her own heart racing with urgency. We can be the change. We can choose to understand rather than fear. Her words hung in the air, pulsating with hope. Mrs. Green stepped forward again, her eyes shining. You know, my son used to be afraid of trying new things until that lovely man taught him how to embrace the unfamiliar. It's about connection, not fear. With each new voice, the atmosphere shifted slightly. Conversations began to bloom, flowers sprouting through the cracks of indifference. But just as the strength and unity began to wash over them, that tinge of fear resurfaced. What if we reach out and they turn away? A girl questioned. Vulnerability creeping into her tone. The question hung heavy. What if the world wasn't as ready for change as they hoped? Mia took a deep breath, locking eyes with Mr. Thompson. Then we try again, she said, her voice rising once more. Every time we make an attempt, every name we learn, every story we share, those are victories. Don't you see? Together we can bridge the gaps, invite hope where fear reigns. But then a loud thud broke through the gathering, a fist hitting a wall. A figure emerged from the shadows of the crowd, the town's known troublemaker, Derek. With his reputation as a bully, everyone tensed, uncertainty rippling through the gathering again. Is this what we've become? Derek sneered, his eyes sharp and hostile. A town that welcomes anyone? You think Mr. Thompson deserves a place here? You kids are too soft. As he spoke, Mia felt the crowd shift, unsure of where they stood. Anxiety rolled in as she realized that more than just acceptance was at stake. They were standing on the precipice of a fight, not just for Mr. Thompson, but for their collective identity. Mia's heart raced as she glanced around at the faces of her classmates. Could they muster the courage to stand firm, or would they shrink back in fear under Derek's angry glare? As Derek stepped closer, the tension thickened like a storm cloud ready to burst. Let's find out who's truly with us, he challenged, eyes glimmering with a dangerous promise. Could they stand together against him? Would this moment of unity withstand the challenge of doubt? Mia felt her heart pounding against her ribcage, each beat a desperate plea for courage. Derek's words were sharp like glass, and she could almost feel them cutting through the fragile web of unity they had all begun to weave. The murmurs of the crowd around her grew quieter, each face fixated on the center of the storm, where she stood with Mr. Thompson, the man whose very presence represented possibility. Derek, this isn't about being soft, Mia shouted,
her voice trembling with a mix of fear and fierce determination. "It's about strength. Look at Mr. Thompson. Look at what he's done." Yet, as she spoke, Mia could sense the doubts looming larger. Eyes flickered nervously, uncertainty spreading like wildfire. Would they turn their backs on Mr. Thompson? Would they let Derek's scorn drown out their own voices? Derek stepped forward, practically bursting with bravado. "What makes you think people want to hear about his life? We're not here for a history lesson." His laughter rang out, cruel and mocking, and for a moment Mia's confidence wavered. But then she saw Mr. Thompson's steady gaze, the calmness radiating from him like a warm light. He lifted his cane slightly, signaling for everyone to listen. There was something in his eyes, a spark of resilience that urged her forward. "Stories are what connect us," Mr. Thompson began, his voice low but powerful.
Each one of us carries a tale, a heart beating with dreams, challenges, and victories. I may be an outsider to some, but I believe we can all be family if we choose to see each other. Derek rolled his eyes, unimpressed, but the crowd, restless and stirred, seemed to shift back toward the old man's words. Mia felt a swell of hope rise in her chest. "Do you really think sharing our stories will change anything?" he challenged rudely. "You think we're gonna hold hands and sing Kumbaya? Get real!" Mia took a step forward, adrenaline tightening her muscles. She felt the weight of every eye in the crowd on her. Maybe we can't change everything today, or even make everyone agree, but isn't it worth trying? She could hear small gasps, the stir of conversation beginning to birth anew. A girl stepped out from the back, her hand raised. "I want to know more. I want to hear Mr. Thompson's story." Suddenly, multiple voices joined. "Yeah, me too," another boy shouted, his eyes brightening with curiosity. Seeing this, Derek spat out. "You're all fools. He's just gonna waste your time with more of his old tales." But the crowd was no longer wrapped up in fear. They had begun to break the chains of his scorn, stepping closer to the warm light that Mr. Thompson continued to cast. Mia felt invigorated. "Mr. Thompson, tell us about your experiences," she urged, turning towards him. "Tell us how you fought for our community." And just like that, the old man smiled wide. With renewed strength, Mr. Thompson lifted his hand, signing a response that Mia eagerly voiced for those without knowledge of sign language. "I have fought not with my fists, but with my heart, and together we can transform this community into a shelter of hope." His words echoed, powering through the aggression that had simmered only moments before. A kind of magic charged the air. People stepped closer, and Derek's sneer faded, replaced by a look of confusion. For a moment, it felt as if walls were collapsing and hearts were beating as one. But just as laughter broke through the tension, Derek shouted out, "You're wasting your time. Nobody cares about some old soldier's stories." The crowd hesitated, and Mia felt a sense of dread creeping in again. What if he's right, she thought. Their unity felt fragile, teetering on the brink of collapse. As Derek clenched his fists, Mia knew they were at a crossroads. Would they let one voice drown out the growing harmony, or would they prove that they were stronger together? The air was electric, questions and emotions buzzing like bees in the summer heat. Mia closed her eyes, praying for strength, for clarity. This was it, the moment where they would decide what kind of community they wanted to build. Would they walk into the light together, arms open wide, or would they close the door on hope? Mia took another breath, feeling
the shift of energy. She had to believe they could pull through this, and she had to believe that maybe, just maybe, this was their chance to change everything for good. Treasure. The crowd stirred, excitement rippling through the group like a wave. Mia felt her heart race again, and she turned to Mr. Thompson, his eyes shining with a deep wisdom and understanding. He had faced down greater challenges than this, and somehow his quiet strength was contagious. "I want to hear your story," urged another voice, cutting through the whispers of doubt. This one was a boy near the front, his cheeks flushed with eagerness. The murmurs swelled, voices bouncing off one another, amplifying the energy in the air. "We all want to hear," echoed another girl. Her eyes sparkled with the thrill of curiosity, a flicker of hope igniting. "Tell us how you fought." Mr. Thompson nodded, his expression shifting into one of resolute purpose. "Very well," he signed, with Mia interpreting. "But this isn't just my story, it's ours. It's about the bonds of our community." He paused, letting the weight of his words sink in. Mia's hands trembled with excitement and fear as she watched the crowd lean forward, eyes fixed on the old man. This was the moment they had been waiting for, that they needed. "A long time ago, I wasn't much different from you," Mr. Thompson began. "I was young, filled with dreams, but also shackled by fear. And I learned quickly that if I wanted to break free, I had to stand up for what was right." As he spoke, Mia felt every word wrap around them like a warm blanket. "I left home with nothing but my conviction," Mr. Thompson continued, recounting tales of struggles, heartaches, and the joy found in connection. "I fought not only against oppression, but for love, equality, and hope. By using my voice, my story, I learned I could gather people together." Around her, eyes widened and breaths were suspended in a mix of reverence and admiration. Each word Mr. Thompson shared seemed to carve out a new space in their minds, a space where dreams thrived and compassion flourished. Derek stood back, watching in silence, his bravado fading. The crowd was no longer under his shadow. They were drawn to the light instead. "As I share, I invite you to join me. Tell your own stories," Mr. Thompson urged, gesturing to the assembled crowd. "You each have something valuable to contribute." Mia felt a swell of emotion rise in her chest. Was this what it meant to be part of a community? To connect through shared experiences, through vulnerability? And then a soft voice piped up from the outer edges. "I lost my brother last year." She hesitated, then, emboldened by Mr. Thompson's strength, continued. "He used to tell me stories about how he wanted to make things better around here. I never knew how to keep that dream alive without him. But maybe if we share, we can." A ripple of support surged as people nodded in understanding and empathy. They too had stories, a mosaic of joys and sorrows, hopes and fears. Mia felt tears pricking the corners of her eyes, pride swelling in her chest as others started standing up one by one, sharing their truths. Even Derek, initially so resistant, found himself rooted to the spot, a strange change washing over him, perhaps stirred by the sincerity that now presented itself before him. "Together we can find strength in our stories," Mr. Thompson finished. "In unity we can create change, and the past won't matter. It's what we do with today that defines us." The crowd erupted into applause, laughter, and shouts of agreement echoing in the air. It was a harmonic blend of shared humanity that filled the space, hearts aligning with a common purpose, a collective spirit igniting a light that had long been dormant. But just as the spirit soared, Mia caught a glimpse of Derek at the edge. His fists were still clenched, and a storm brewed behind his eyes. Was he really ready to let go of this fight? Or would he strike back, dragging them all into chaos once more? As Mia stood, surrounded by newfound friends, she knew they weren't out of the woods yet. The real battle was just beginning. The weight of the moment pressed down on Mia's chest. Around her, the energy slightly shifted. The applause faded, making way for an uncertain silence. It felt heavy, as if the crowd was collectively holding its breath, searching for the next spark to ignite their resolved spirits. Mr. Thompson's story had turned the tide,
but there was still a crack in the armor, a weakness that could be exploited. Mia's gaze drifted back to Derek. His face was clouded, the inner turmoil obvious. For all the progress they made, he remained a wild card, a ticking time bomb of unresolved feelings. "Hey," Mia called softly, taking a step closer to him. The others around them were still exchanging stories and laughter, but she focused on Derek. "Are you okay?" He met her glance, eyes ablaze, almost angry. "What was that all about?" he snapped, pointing at the group sharing their truths. "You think sharing a sob story is gonna change anything?" Mia's heart sank. "It's about connection, Derek. It's about finding strength together. They need to know they're not alone." Her voice softened, feeling the tension between them. "We all do." "Strength? That's not enough," he shot back, fists still clenched. "This is just talk. It won't fix anything. We need action." His desperation met her determination, and in that moment, it felt like they were worlds apart. She searched his eyes for a glimmer of the boy she knew, one who dreamed of a better community, just as the others did. But what if sharing our stories is the first step? What if vulnerability would bring understanding? It can't hurt to try. Derek's gaze faltered for a moment.
And in that flicker, Mia saw uncertainty. It encouraged her, like a small flame kindling in the darkness. Maybe you could share too. You have a story, right? You know how much your brother cared about this place, about helping others. "I don't have time for that," he muttered, though the edge in his voice was starting to dull. "I'm tired of waiting for change. I want to make it happen." Mia stepped closer, close enough to feel the warmth radiating from his conflicted energy. "Change starts with us, Derek, together. The small things matter too. They build up. We can be the voices that open doors for others." The crowd's shared stories had ignited something. A whisper of solidarity floated through the air. Mia turned back to the group. "Look at everyone. They believe in this because they believe in each other." As if summoned by her confidence, a girl started to rise from the crowd again, trembling but eager. "I used to be afraid to speak up, but today I feel like I can. I want to fight for this community because it matters to me." A ripple of applause met her words, solidifying that sense of unity. Would Derek recognize this? Would it break through the hurt and bravado? With a deep breath, Mia addressed the crowd again. "You've all shared some incredible stories today. What's the next step? I feel like we could really do something together." The crowd responded enthusiastically, but in the back of her mind, Mia noticed Derek's stillness. He stood frozen, as if caught in a hurricane, unsure of which way to turn. Would he reach out and embrace the wind, or let it sweep him away? Suddenly, a deafening crash echoed from further down the street, interrupting their moment. Glass shattered, and a gust of disorder surged through the gathering. The collective gasp was palpable as heads turned toward the chaos. Mia's heart raced. The moment of change they had been forging felt threatened. The streets were still crowded, but now laced with shadows and uncertainty. "Derek, come on," she shouted, pulling him back toward the others. "We need to figure out how to respond to this." But as she turned, she realized Derek's expression had shifted once more. It was not anger. It was fierce determination mixed with fear as he caught sight of the unfolding chaos. Would they stand together, united by their stories? Or would this mark the moment when everything unraveled around them? With the world spiraling out of control, the battle for their community's heart was about to become far more complex than any of them had imagined. How would they choose to fight back? Mia's breath caught in her throat as the fractured glass glistened under the harsh streetlights, each shard a reminder of the fragility of their moment. Panic rippled through the crowd. Faces turned, wide-eyed and fearful, unsure of what danger lurked just beyond their gathering. "Derek," she urged again, her voice slicing through the noise. She stepped back toward him, heart pounding, desperate to reconnect. He stood still, but something in his posture had shifted, a tension in his shoulders, a flicker of resolve in his eyes that hadn't been there moments before.
I have to do something, he said, his voice deepening, a blend of fear and fierce urgency. We can't just stand here. Mia felt the power of his determination wash over her, igniting a spark within. Then let's do it together. She reached for his hand, gripping it tightly, an anchor in this storm of emotions. As the commotion on the street intensified, a distant shattering of more glass, sharp cries of alarm, Mia noticed individuals around them breaking into smaller clusters. Some were frantically seeking shelter, while others were peering into the dark to discern the source of the chaos. She didn't know how to protect them, how to shield this newfound camaraderie from breaking apart under pressure. Squeezing Derek's hand, she pushed through the crowd, urging others to follow. We need to spread out, stay calm. If we stick together, we can figure this out. They moved through the mass of frightened faces, unity rising like a wave. Mia could feel the weight of their shared fear, but also a collective resolve. They were not just spectators, they were a group forged by stories, by experiences that had tied them together. A familiar face caught Mia's eye, the girl who had bravely spoken moments ago, her cheeks still flushed with the courage it had taken to share her truth. She was scanning the ground near a shop, her expression one of urgency. "Over here," she yelled, waving them toward her. "Someone's trapped under this debris." Derek didn't hesitate. He pulled Mia along as they navigated to her side. Together, they found a small section of an awning had collapsed, pinning a man underneath. He lay still, panic etched across his features, eyes darting wildly. "Stay with us," Derek shouted, leaning down close to the injured man. "We're here to get you out." The fear that had held Mia paralyzed shifted into action. With the crowd rallying behind them, she could hear snippets of encouragement, people shouting instructions or joining in to help lift the debris. She saw flashes of determination as everyone shifted into gear, working as one cohesive unit. As they began to lift the heavy wreckage, Mia felt the raw intensity of the moment hit her. This was more than just a community gathering now. It was a living embodiment of the very connection they had all been searching for. Each grunt of effort revealed trust and strength they didn't know they possessed. "We can do this, together!" Mia shouted, her voice cutting through the chaos as she locked eyes with Derek. It was no longer just about storytelling, it was about saving a life, about standing strong against the storm. The weight of the debris lifted little by little, and gradually the sounds of the crowd turned from gasps of fear to cheers of hope. The man beneath began to stir, blinking at the faces surrounding him. But just as Mia felt a swell of victory in her chest, a blaring siren pierced the air, an assault of sound that drowned out their moment of triumph. Mia's heart sank as reality struck her again. The authorities were on their way. But what would that mean for the fragile unity they had just forged? Together, poised at a precipice of hope and looming threat, they were on the brink of something bigger than themselves. What would happen next? Would they continue to fight for each other even when the sirens screamed for order? "Everyone, keep moving," Derek commanded, his voice surprisingly steady amidst the chaos, a lifeline in the storm. Mia's heart raced as she let his hand go, torn between staying with him and aiding the crowd, now focused on the vulnerable man beneath the debris. The underground rumble of sirens echoed closer, an ominous reminder of the limits of their self-made sanctuary. Mia could see fear in the eyes of those around her, a ripple of uncertainty spreading. "We have to make sure he's stable before the authorities arrive," she said, her voice barely above the cacophony. "I can help," shouted the girl with the flushed cheeks, rushing forward. "I know first aid." "Then let's do it." Mia was surprised by her own enthusiasm, seeing snippets of bravery igniting in the crowd. It suddenly felt like they were all part of a larger narrative, one that was unwinding and weaving itself together. As Derek and a few others carefully removed the last of the debris, Mia positioned herself near the man's head. "Hey there," she whispered. "You're going to be okay. We're all here for you." The man's eyes widened, and she could see the flicker of hope hesitating in his expression. Derek and the others finally freed him, and the crowd erupted into applause, a sound of unity, a testament to their shared resolve. Relief crashed over Mia, but moments later it was interrupted by the blaring sirens that roared toward them. Mia looked around, catching glances of anxiety as people shifted nervously. What would the authorities do? Would they separate the very community they had built through this crisis? It felt unjust, especially now that they had tasted this unity, this collective strength. "Everyone, let's keep calm," Mia shouted, raising her voice. "Don't let them break us apart. We've just come together in a way none of us imagined. Stand strong." The man who had been pulled from under the wreckage looked around, still trembling but visibly touched by the support. Thank you all," he breathed, his voice cracking with emotion. Mia felt a warmth spread through her chest. They had done something remarkable. But as she turned toward Derek, searching for his eyes, a sudden urge surged inside her. Would it all be lost in an instant once the authorities stepped in? A police car
Screeched to a halt at the edge of the crowd, lights flashing and reflecting off the nearby glass shards, painting everything in a garish hue. The officers stepped out, assessing the scene with swift, practiced movements. "Stay back," one of them barked, raising a hand as he approached. "What's going on here?" Mia's heart beat loudly in her ears as she glanced at Derek, the hesitance shared between them thick in the air. Would they be seen as heroes or troublemakers? Could they convey the urgency of a community that had risen together? "Let us explain," Derek stepped forward, his voice firm. "We're not just onlookers, we're here for each other. There's strength in this moment." Mia's breath caught again, caught between a desire to protect the unity they had built and the fears of being shut down before they could fully realize it. She took a step forward too, joining Derek. "Please, just listen," she pleaded. In that moment, she realized their collective fate hung in the balance. Could they preserve what they had fought for, no matter the incoming authority? The officers exchanged looks, their demeanor shifting slightly. But just then, a startling crash resounded from the direction of the shattered glass, pulling their focus. Mia's heart raced anew, dreading what might come next. What had they just unleashed, and would they be able to hold their newfound family together amidst the unexpected turmoil? Mia's heart raced as she watched the officer's face harden, uncertainty flickering in his eyes. Panic seeped back in, but she clung to the realization that they had just shifted into something bigger than themselves. Community, unity. They had proven to one another that they were ready to stand together against adversity. "Please," she called again, her voice strong and unwavering. "We've faced too much to let fear dictate our actions." She gestured back to the crowd, full of faces now painted with determination. "These people are my neighbors, my friends. We just saved someone's life. We're not a threat, we're family." Derek nodded beside her, an unspoken alliance between them. "We come together when it counts. We didn't shy away from danger. We pulled together." The crowd murmured, echoing his sentiment. Confidence surged through Mia, as if every heartbeat synchronized in hope. The officer stepped forward, skepticism evident, but there was a slight softening. "This isn't a game. You can't just do whatever you want." Realization struck Mia. They needed to share their collective story, to articulate the deeper bond they had formed amidst the chaos. She locked eyes with Derek, both holding the weight of their community's values. If they could pull this off, they could protect everything they had built together. A familiar voice from the group erupted. "We want to share too." Another person stepped forward, unafraid to lift their voice, emboldened by the earlier bravery they had witnessed. "What happened here can't just be swept under the rug. We're better together." The tension rippled. Mia felt the surge of strength. From within, their stories intertwining into a single powerful chorus. With urgency, she called out, "Please, let us speak. We're not just individuals. Together, we can show you how incredible our community is when we stand united, listening to one another." The officer exchanged glances with his partner, who shifted slightly, as if considering the weight of Mia's words. "We're more than just names or faces," a mother from the crowd added, her voice trembling, filled with emotion. "My children learned that kindness can outweigh prejudice. It's made us stronger."
Mia's heart swelled at the weaving of shared truths, voiced loud and clear against the backdrop of chaos. They were not just claiming space, they were firmly establishing their right to exist, to thrive as a community. Finally, the first officer appeared to relent, the tightness in his shoulders easing even as he hesitated. "All right," he said, "but if you want to say something, you better be quick. We need to understand the situation here." Mia turned to the crowd, her gaze catching the old man, their hero, their inspiration. She felt a wave of motivation wash over her as she took a deep breath. "Mr. Thompson," she spoke aloud, "can you please share your story?" Everyone stepped back, clearing a path for him. Mr. Thompson approached, cane in hand, posture steady as he raised his gaze to the crowd, filled with pride and newfound determination. He signed his words carefully, translating as Mia relayed them. "I've fought battles that shook my soul, but this fight does not end with silence. It continues with community, respect, and understanding. I want every one of you to recognize that we can overcome obstacles." His voice resonated through the stillness, capturing their hearts with unyielding fervor. Around them, faces brightened and softened at his words, the tension flowing out of the atmosphere like a soft breeze carrying away storm clouds. Mia felt the shared heartbeat of everyone, a rhythm of empathy pulsing tightly together in that moment. "I'm here not just as an old soldier, but as proof that hope does not falter," Mr. Thompson continued, "a reminder that even in darkness we can rise together." Applause erupted around them. Tears ran down some cheeks, laughter bubbled up, buoyed by the unexpected warmth of renewed solidarity. Even Derek seemed to soften, the anger in his eyes ebbing, replaced by awe. "Let us not be defined by our differences, but by our love for one another," Mia added, rallying their spirits higher. "We've shared stories today, and with this beautiful community, we can bridge the gap between silence and understanding." The officer nodded slowly, the corners of his mouth hinting at a reluctant smile. "All right, I see you've come together in a powerful way today," he spoke, a hint of admiration weaving into his voice. "But know that we'll be here to ensure safety while you work on these ideas." A collective cheer erupted in solidarity, a vibrant sound that cascaded into the stillness and rang out into the night, an affirmation of progress. As the officers stepped back, the music of hope fused with laughter and conversation. Families laughed, neighbors embraced, and Derek finally approached Mia, an almost shy, uncertain smile on his face. "That was intense, wasn't it?" "Yeah," Mia breathed, relief washing over her. "But it felt right." "That's what community means, huh?" he said softly, "standing strong together." Mia nodded, radiant with joy. "This is just the beginning. We can do so much more." The crowd buzzed with excitement, sharing ideas for a bright future. Neighbors began exchanging numbers, while children played joyfully nearby, embellishing their fellowship. In that moment, as Mia looked around at the newfound connections, she felt a deep sense of triumph, a quiet realization that vibrant change was not just possible, it was already taking place. One small act, one courageous story at a time. And so, as the stars twinkled high above, a community ignited with hope for the future. She held on to the truth that was born from the ashes. They had built not only bridges, but a home bound together by compassion, understanding, and love. Subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm. Your support is crucial. Comment your reactions and feelings about this inspiring ending. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Don't wait, not even one more second to share. Only true fans understand the importance of supporting the channel through these actions.